And welcome. I'm Keshini Vijayagunratna, the Director of Project Management and Public Relations for the Sri Lanka Foundation. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. To those of you that have joined us from Sri Lanka. The Sri Lanka Foundation Academy of Performing Arts will take you through a journey how the Sri Lankan cultural traditional dance and drumming was brought all the way from Sri Lanka to Los Angeles, California. Today, using the modern technology on a Zoom platform, we are showcasing our Zoom classroom sessions to the entire world. So I want everyone to sit back and relax and enjoy. Before we proceed, I want to go over the house rules. Mute your audio if the lines are open. Keep your phones muted whenever you are not speaking. This helps avoid unwanted background noises that can distract other participants. Sri Lanka Foundation will be recording the webinar. As such, we ask the attendees not to record any conversations. Be respectful, keep your comments helpful and considerate of the host and other participants. During the questions and answer session, you may ask the panel any questions you may have through the chat line at the bottom of your screen. The moderator will direct your question to the appropriate speaker. You can also email your question just in case we run out of time. Now, further delay, I take pride and honor to present to you and hand over the webinar platform to Achala Veerasinghe, the Director of Cultural Affairs for the Sri Lanka Foundation and the Director of Operations for the Academy of Performing Arts, and our co-host, Chamod Amarasinghe, the Media Director. Over to you, Achala.
Thank you, Keshini, for the great introduction. On behalf of Sri Lanka Foundation International, I would like to welcome all our attendees joining us today from throughout the US and from across the ocean. Thank you so much for joining and welcome. Before we begin, I'd like to say thank you and show our appreciation for Sri Lanka Foundation's management and staff. Our founder, Dr. Walter Jayasinghe, our president, Dr. Dishan Jayasinghe, our vice president, Aisha Jayasinghe, chief operating officer, Shirani Stanislaus, director of project management and public relations, Keshini Vijayagunratna, principal of SLF Academy of Performing Arts, Lal Tilakaratna. From DG Studio, Swigly, thank you for all your support. And a very special thank you to Chamod Amarasinghe, our media director, for all your hard work and support behind the scenes. I think all our SLF staff will agree how hard he was working on this webinar. Chamod, you've been there working with me since the very beginning. I honestly couldn't have done this without you. Thank you so much, Chamod. Also, I'd like to thank all our students and the parents who was helping me promoting this webinar today. Thank you. And lastly, I'd like to thank our outstanding speakers, Elizabeth, our APS staff, the teachers who worked very hard on making today perfect. Our principal and staff, you kept the school running and maintaining the school's accreditation standards while working hard on this project. I know that was not easy and your work did not go unnoticed. It's a huge relief to know that I can always count on you. Thank you. Dr. Walter Jayasinghe, when you first formed the Sri Lanka Foundation in June 2003, the focus was to educate and promote Sri Lankan culture across the United States and globally. That's exactly what we are doing today at Sri Lanka Foundation. When I first joined the foundation years ago, Dr. Jay and Aisha, you said that we also need to serve the community by providing a platform to learn and retain our culture, language, heritage, and performing arts. With that mission in mind, the Academy was formed in 2015 and has turned into what it is today, pioneering the path to being the very first accredited Sri Lankan Cultural Educational Institute in the USA. Without further any delay, I would like to invite Dr. Walter Jayasinghe, the founder of the Sri Lanka Foundation, to say a few words and address the audience. Dr. Walter?
He's not able to make it once again, but I'm here to speak with my mother, Aisha Jayasinghe, and we wanted to show our support. And I'm so happy that we're actually doing the cultural part of all of this and this new methodology of doing it online. And we're very happy to give our thanks to everybody that is involved and have been working so hard through a lot of Zoom webinars and Zoom classes through this whole epidemic. So thank you very much. And I know Dr. Walter Jayasinghe would definitely want to say that he's very proud of everyone here.
Yeah, I also want to thank all the teachers that participate in this and their dedication, and they are giving their talents to all the children and making it an exciting program of education, although they are not physically there. And this is dancing and drumming. And it's challenging to not actually be in front of your teacher and dance or drum. But we have exceptional teachers, Laal and all the rest of the ladies. And so they made this so great. The children are happy. They are performing. And I cannot thank you all enough for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dishan and Aisha. Our next speaker is the Sri Lankan Ambassador to the United States, His Excellency Rodney PERAHERA.
Aibon to everyone. Thank you once again, Sri Lanka Foundation, for making this wonderful arrangement. The cultural heritage of Sri Lanka is the bedrock of our country. We are extremely proud of what we have which has lasted through generations. So I thank my dear friend, Dr. Walter, Aisha, Dishan for starting this foundation to start the Academy of Performing Arts to make sure that it continues with much heightened momentum throughout the years. And I thank the wonderful staff of the Sri Lanka Foundation, Keshani, Shirani, then all the teachers in the school led by Achala. Thank you very much for your profound success in projecting this important Sri Lankan component of our heritage to the rest of the world, especially the United States. Then we have Lal, Sewandi, Umendra, Dhyan. Thank you all for your service. It's something extremely important. And we have a distinguished expert joining from Sri Lanka, Dr. INDIKA. Thank you for joining this. These are all important aspects of how we project Sri Lanka as a unique country in the United States and in the rest of the world. This may be my last occasion before I move on in my life from Washington, D.C. So I thank all of you for giving me the support on our day-to-day work. So it's very opportune that I selected a little bit of our cultural heritage in the background of the official Sri Lanka residents from Washington, D.C. And I want to also thank Mrs. Elizabeth OBERREITER. Thank you very much for giving recognition to the Academy. This is something very important, that we want to do things right. And I think Walter has had the foresight to get it registered, get it accredited, so that we have all the tools at our disposal to take this wonderful cultural heritage to the United States. And I'm very happy to be part of that. And I wish all of you all the success in your activities. And just a point I just want to make, because when I'm in the process of talking to important people in Washington, D.C. on the completion of my assignment, they one of the questions they ask is, so have you seen a lot in the United States? And I say, yes, I've seen a lot in the United States, but there's one special memory, and which is the Academy of Performing Arts. I've said this before. Sri Lanka is known as the pearl in the Indian Ocean, and I call the Academy of Performing Arts it's like the jewel in the United States that we need to polish and project it even further to improve our contact with the friendly American people to understand Sri Lanka. So when you talk about the history of music, and I'm sure our experts today will be able to give more details, but something that is important to note is today we are on the special platforms of communication. But back in the day, now we are rewinding history to 2,000 to 3,000 years, the drums were used as a mode of communication. And this is what our history books tell you. So it's something very important. So you bring back our history and culture of 3,000 years to a modern day platform to mix the two in order to give our next generation the tools for them to be equipped with to go forward as proud Sri Lankans. So I thank you all and wish you all the success in today's discussions.
Thank you, Ambassador, and we wish you all the best. Thank you once again. Next is our special guest speaker, Dr. INDIKA Ferdinando, the Dean of Faculty of Dance and Drama at the University of the Visual and Performing Arts in Colombo. Dr. INDIKA is an international award-winning theater practitioner and filmmaker. At the age of 19, he is the youngest director to receive the Best Director Award at the National Drama Festival of Sri Lanka. In 2002, he graduated with a first-class honors degree in drama and theater from the University of California. Several years later, he read his MPhil research on Sri Lankan ritual theater. Afterwards, he received his PhD in theater and performance from Monash University, Australia in 2017. Dr. INDIKA's debut feature film, The Singing Pond, was nominated by several prestigious film festivals around the world and won several international awards, including Best Feature Film. In Sri Lanka, Hogana Pokuna, The Singing Pond, thrice received the title of Best Film of 2016 and also won the award for Most Popular Film of the Year. Dr. INDIKA Ferdinando, welcome and thank you for joining us today, all the way from Sri Lanka.
Thank you very much, Achala, Mrs. Achala Veerasinghe. Very good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen, and Ayubowan, greetings from Sri Lanka. And I'm really glad to have this opportunity of speaking in this webinar organized by the Sri Lankan Foundation, Sri Lanka Foundation, Los Angeles, as a guest speaker. Talking about performing arts is a really heartwarming thing, especially at the moment, because we are forced to stay away from performing arts by this COVID-19 pandemic. Performing arts requires the physical presence of human beings in one place. It can be a theater or a street, a marketplace, or a paddy field, any location with a performance space. Any location with a performance space can bring performing arts into existence. So people meet, performers and spectators, they share one aesthetic experience. It can be dance or theater or music, circus or magic or ventriloquism or stand-up comedy. Whatever the performing arts genre is, people get engaged in one experience as one entity. That is called empathy. We know that world is a complicated place and there is a lot of division between people. Performing arts tend to unify people in a way nothing else does. Also, we know without performers, performing arts cannot exist, and also without spectators, performing arts cannot exist as well. So dance, music, and theater, they always remind us that the importance of the presence of the other, that is one of the most wonderful things, wonderful factors of performing arts. But now here in Sri Lanka and all around the world, I think including US, we are forced to stay at home, stay away from theaters. And at the moment, we don't have the privilege of experiencing great theater, dance, or music. People are asked to maintain physical distance, which is really depressing. So, if we cannot have a cultural life with arts like theater, dance, and music, and the thing is, I got to know about this organization because a few months back, Mrs. Achala Veerasinghe visited our university to explore the possibilities of working collaboratively. I think we had a very fruitful meeting with the Vice Chancellor and all the deans of the whole faculties, and we agreed to act in a mutually beneficial way. We discussed about implementing an exchange program, and the possibilities of signing an MOU was also explored. So actually the University of the Visual and Performing Arts is the only university in the region dedicated to teach visual and performing arts only. So we have the best human resources in Sri Lanka for dance, theater, and music, and also visual arts. We have a vast range of experts who teach traditional Sinhalese dance and music. So in the future, when this COVID-19 crisis is over, I hope our people can visit you to share their knowledge and expertise with the Sri Lankan community in Los Angeles. And I also know that veteran dancers like Lal Tilakaratna, who's coming from a reputed traditional dance background, is doing a wonderful job there currently. And we can help enriching and expanding that service to your community for sure. And the dissemination of knowledge is one of the roles that a university should play. And with the assistance of Mrs. Veerasinghe and other forerunners of Sri Lanka Foundation, I hope that we will be able to work collaboratively in the future in a mutually beneficial way. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wish this webinar becomes a great success that would open up a very fruitful conversation about culture and the culture that bounds us. So thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for inviting me to this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and we are looking forward to working with the university, collaborating and working towards the programs that we have scheduled in future. Next, I'd like to invite the President of Sri Lanka Foundation, Dr. Jayasinghe, to say a few words.
Thank you, Achala. I actually just want to say that we have a very special thing when it comes to Sri Lankan traditional dance and arts and culture. Looking at the history books all over the world, you can't find something so uniquely different and traditional as far as history is concerned. The techniques used back then is hard to master today. And in that sense, our teachers are amazing. And the communication that happens in our performances are very like you feel it. It feels very aesthetic, and when we do these performance pieces to Americans or people who don't speak Sinhalese or don't have the quality of understanding of that, what happens is they all love it. And so that communication of that art form is amazing. And so I'm saying this mainly because we're on a mission to take this cultural performance and take it all around the world. And using this platform with Zoom and what we've been forced to do, and kind of educate using our technology and our different levels of education to actually bring that to the world and all the countries around the world. So we're going to start by really expanding in the United States with these classes and start getting any cultural, any different race involved in learning these techniques. And all the teachers will explain these techniques are actually they're essential in other kind of performances also. We're talking about how to hold your central weight when you speak, and how to communicate when you're trying to vocalize. In any kind of way, there's balance, and there's a way to perform. And that's essential for everything. So I'm very, very excited and proud to be Sri Lankan when it comes to these kind of performances. And I can't wait for like my friends or Americans to be so excited to be taking classes with our group. So thank you guys very much. Thank everybody, just like how I said, all the speakers, thank you for joining us, and let's educate the world with our Sri Lankan culture. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dishan. Next, I would like to invite someone I work very closely with to do a formal introduction of the panelists. Our Chief Operating Officer, Shirani Stanislaus.
Thank you, Achala. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Shirani Stanislaus, Chief Operating Officer of Sri Lanka Foundation. As COO, I have the pleasure in introducing our panel of speakers to you today. First, I'd like to introduce Ms. Elizabeth OBERREITER, the Director, Accrediting Commission of Schools, Western Association of Schools and Colleges, also known as ACS WASC. This is a nonprofit accrediting organization that began in 1962 with the purpose of improving and validating the quality of education in public, private, nonprofit, post-secondary schools, and supplemental programs. Through the evaluation of education institutions, the accreditation assures the educational community, the general public, and other organizations that an institution has clearly defined objectives appropriate to education, has established conditions under which their achievement can reasonably be expected to continue to do so, and demonstrate that it meets ACS WASC criteria and accreditation standards. In conclusion, I would like to quote some of her words during her initial visit in May 2019. She said that another very important highlight to note as students take these courses, they are not only learning drumming and dance, they are learning about Sri Lanka's history, language, and arts. The staff is dedicated to the mission and encourage students to continue to be proud of their heritage and learn where their families came from. As I spoke to students, they acknowledged that they loved coming to classes on weekends. Our next speaker is Mr. Lal Tilakaratna. Lal is the principal and senior dance and drumming instructor of Sri Lanka Foundation, Academy of Performing Arts. Lal started to learn dancing in Sri Lanka when he was 6 years and continued to learn and perform Kohamakankarya, Bali rituals, folk rituals, dance traditions, and West Bandung ceremonies. He has performed in over 35 countries at some of the most prestigious venues to a variety of audience. He had taught many students at dance academies around the world, including Sri Lankan Art Council of Sydney, Channaupali Dance Academy, and his own Rangayatane in Colombo, Sri Lanka. Lal was responsible in conducting the first traditional Sri Lankan graduation ceremony called Pahimpat Mangalya in California. Next, I want to introduce Ms. Sewandi Rajapaksa. Sewandi joined Sri Lanka Foundation's Academy of Performing Arts as a professional dance instructor. She's also the Associate Director and Vice Principal. She has a bachelor's degree in molecular science and presently works as a clinical cancer researcher. However, Her passion for Sri Lankan traditional dancing got into her at a very tender age of 6. She has a proven background in traditional Sinhala dance, which includes upcountry, low country, and folk dance, as well as Bharatanatyam. She has well over 5 years of professional performing arts experience, and she has won many accolades. Our next speaker is UMENDRA KAHADAWAARACCHI. UMENDRA, a Sri Lankan dancer, drummer, choreographer, and an instructor of dance in the USA. She too has been dancing since the age of 4. At the age of 7, she joined PERAHERA Shilpadipati Dance School, graduated in 1994, and continued to dance till 1998. Through her very own dance studio called the Netranjali Dance Academy, she volunteered to perform at Sri Lanka Day for many years. She received a bachelor's degree with honor in nursing from the University of Phoenix in California, and is continuing to advance her studies in nursing while currently teaching at Sri Lanka Foundation Academy of Performing Arts since 2017. Finally, I want to introduce Dian Hevage. Dian had his education and degree at El Camino College on electronics and computer hardware technology, and later obtained an associate degree in advanced transportation and rail maintenance, basic electrical electronic knowledge, and diesel technology at Los Angeles Trade Technical College. Besides his technical knowledge, he possesses a musical background and the ability to handle sound and track system for large events. His fluency in producing music made him a professional singer, percussionist, and guitarist. He joined Sri Lanka Foundation Academy of Performing Arts as an associate instructor, assisting the senior dance instructor and principal. Thank you all very much, and a special thank you to our guest speakers. Now I hand the webinar platform over to our moderator, Achala Veerasinghe.
Thank you, Shirani, for that great introduction there. And now the moment everyone has been waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen, our qualified staff is ready to present how our academy adapted to these uncertain times and continue to run the school while maintaining its accreditation. You will get to learn more about our school, its various programs, also the parent and community involvement. As you know, our school is officially accredited by ACSWASC, Accrediting Commission of Schools, WASC. It is my pleasure to hand over the platform to Mrs. Elizabeth OBERREITER, the Director of Accrediting Commission of Schools, Western Association of Schools and Colleges. Over to you, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Achala. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, first of all, for inviting me to this very, very special webinar. And I'm just especially honored to be part of this. ACS WASC accredits over 5,000 schools and supplemental programs such as yours. And 473 of these are international, which means they're throughout the entire world. ACS WASC is a nonprofit accrediting organization which began in 1962, whose sole purpose includes improving and validating the quality of education in public, private, nonprofit post-secondary schools and supplemental programs. Through WASC's evaluation of the educational schools, WASC accreditation assures that the educational community, the general public, and other organizations and agencies, that an institution has clearly defined objectives appropriate to education, has established conditions under which their achievement can reasonably be expected, appears in fact to be accomplishing them substantially in so organized staff and supported that it can be expected to continue to do so, and demonstrates that it meets the WASC criteria and accreditation standards, which lead to our guiding principles at WASC. WASC encourages and supports institutional development and improvement through an institutional self-evaluation, which is reflective, using the accreditation criteria and policies, as well as a mid-cycle, a follow-up, special reports, and a periodic evaluation of the institutional quality by qualified peer professionals around the globe. The benefit of having WASC accreditation is the validation of which is offered to students through its curriculum, delivery, and assessment. In May, I have a huge smile on my face because I was so delighted to be part of the initial visit. In May 2019, I had the privilege of visiting the Sri Lanka Foundation Academy of Performing Arts here in Los Angeles. This was the Academy's WASC initial accreditation. The school wrote a detailed report outlining the specifics of the program. The Performing Arts Center's mission is to preserve, support, and especially celebrate and present to a wide range of audience the culture, language, dance, and arts of Sri Lanka through performances, workshops, educational outreach programs, and formal instruction. I was able to visit the drumming and dance classes. What impressed me the most was your very dedicated staff to all of the families and students. Another very important highlight to note, as students take these courses, they're not only learning drumming and dance, they're also learning about Sri Lanka's history, language, and arts. The academy staff is notably dedicated to the mission and encouraging students to continue to be proud of their heritage and learning where their families came from. As I spoke to students at the academy, they acknowledged that they loved coming to classes on weekends because they had made many friends and were learning about the past. And they made many friends that were Sri Lankan that they did not go to school so they were able to connect with them there. The academy's program is intrinsically important in order for students to understand their history and heritage and to continue to live through these classes and with hopes to pass what they've learned about themselves and their families to their own future families. I was impressed again with the dedicated staff and leadership and all of the hours that are dedicated to the program. Soon after the pandemic hit, the foundation contacted me and gave me an update on how classes would be delivered. I was given a detailed explanation that all classes would continue virtually until it was safe to go back in person. The foundation has given me updates on the virtual classes since last March. Although this is never the best way to give classes, they have made it possible for all students to continue their drumming and dance classes. I look forward in continuing the ACS WASC professional relationship as the program grows and prospers. Again, the Sri Lanka Foundation Academy offers a very special program in order for students to continue to learn about their past and to carry this into their future. I'm providing here on this slide contact information for further information about WASC if you'd like to get in touch with me. Now, I would like to thank Achala, the Director of Operations, for working with me on this presentation and inviting me to participate in this very special webinar. I would also like to thank Chamod for his patience with me and his wonderful tech support. It has been just an extreme pleasure to work with all of you these past few years since 2019. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elizabeth. It was very useful information. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Next presenter is the Principal, Associate Director, and Senior Dance and Drumming Instructor of Sri Lanka Foundation, Academy of Performing Arts, Lal Tilakaratne.
Thank you so much, Achala. Ayubowan, Avada Ayubo Viva. Good evening, good morning, everyone around the world, our people. First up, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Walter Jayasinghe, the founder and the visionary behind the Sri Lanka Foundation. Secondly, I would like to convey my appreciation to our dear Vice President of the Foundation, Ms. Aisha Jayasinghe, the President of the Foundation, Dr. Dilshan Jayasinghe, and all of the staff at the Foundation, along with my fellow instructors at the Performing Arts Academy. Special thanks goes to guest speaker, Dr. INDIKA Fernando, and Ms. Elizabeth and Dr. PERAHERA. Thank you so much, our ambassador. I will be presenting on the social significance of Sri Lankan aesthetic arts. It's my own mother language, which is Sinhalese. Following my presentation, there will be an English translate of my speech. Thank you again. I go on. Api ada kata karana balaporutu yanni ma visin the social significance of Sri Lankan aesthetic arts. Sri Lankaවේ නර්තන වාදන ගායනා මේ ගායනාවෙහි සමාජීය වැදගත්කම. ලංකාවේ නර්තන වාදන ක්‍රම ආරම්භ වී ඇත්තේ ප්‍රාග් ඓතිහාසික යුගයේ සිටයි. Before 6th century, ක්‍රිස්තු පූර්ව 6 වන සියවස වන විට ලංකාවේ නර්තන ගායන වාදන ක්‍රම පැවති බව මහාවංශයේ සඳහන් වෙනවා. එදා සිට පැවති මෙම අභිචාර කලාවන්, ඒ කියන්නේ රිචුවල් ආර්ට්ස් අපට අදත් දකින්නට පුළුවන් ලංකාව තුල ශාන්ති කර්ම, යාග හෝම, බලි තොවිල් ආදී වශයෙන්. වර්තමානයේ වනට එම කලාවන් ලංකාවේ විවිධ පළාත් අනුව උඩරට පහතරට සබුරුගම වශයෙන් වෙන්වෙන් වශයෙන් මේ නර්තන ක්‍රම අපට දකින්නට පුළුවන්. ඔබ මේ දකින කොහොඹා කංකාරී උඩරට නර්තන සම්ප්‍රදායේ ශාන්තිකාර්මයක් කොහොඹා යක්කංකාරී මීට වසර 30කට පමණ පෙර මා කුඩාවැදියේදී මේ කොහොඹා කංකාරිය සාම්ප්‍රදායික මේ කොහොඹා කංකාරියේ ශාන්තිකර්ම වලට සහභාගී වෙලා තියෙනවා. එහි උපරාම කීපයක් තමයි thank you chama. සමත්යක් වශයෙන් ගත් කල මේ සාම්ප්‍රදායික නර්තන ක්‍රම මේ රිචුවල් ආර්ට්ස් සමාජයට මහා වටිනා අංග රැසක් සමාජයට ලැබිලා තියෙනවා. මම ඒ පිළිබඳව කරුණු 7ක් සමාජීය වැදගත්කම කරුණු 7ක් ඔස්සේ විශ්ලේෂණය කරන්න කැමතියි. අපි බලමු educational importance. අධ්‍යාපනික වශයෙන් වැදගත්කම. ඒ වගේම cultural significance. සංස්කෘතිමය වශයෙන් වැදගත්කම. ඒ වගේම importance personality development. පෞරුෂීය වර්ධනීය වැදගත්කම. ඒ වගේම preservation of physical and mental health. කායික හා මානසික සෞඛ්‍ය සංරක්ෂණය. importance as a medical system. වෛද්‍ය ක්‍රමයක් ලෙස වැදගත්කම. ඒ වගේම සෞන්දර්යාත්මක වැදගත්කම aesthetic importance. ඒ වගේම ඉතිහාසය හා විකාශනීය වැදගත්කම the importance of the historical evolution. මේ ඉහත කරුණු සියල්ලම විශ්ලේෂණය කිරීමට මට ලැබී තියෙන කාලය සීමිත බැවි මේ සියල්ලම කැටිකොට සංක්ෂිප්තයක් වශයෙන් ගෙන මම මේ කරුණු ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න කැමතියි. අපි බලමු මෙඩිකල් සිස්ටම් එක. ඒ කියන්නේ වෛද්‍ය ක්‍රමයක් ලෙස අප ශ්‍රී ලංකාව තුල හෙළ වේදකම ආයුර්වේදය තුල අපි මේ රිචුවල් ආර්ට්ස් මේ අභිචාර කලාවන් මේ ක්‍රම විදි භාවිතා කරනවා. කායික හා මානසික රෝග නිවාරණය සඳහා ශාන්ති කර්ම, බලි තොවිල් වැනි දේවල් අපි භාවිතා කරනවා. ඒ වගේම ස්වභාවික පැමිණෙන විපත් උවදුරු ගොවිතැන් ආරක්ෂාවට කරන මේ යාග බලි තොවිල් පිදවිලි මේ වගේ ආදී වර්තමානයේ අපිට දකින්නට පුළුවන්. ඒ තුලින් අපි සමාජයට වැදගත් ඖෂධ වර්ග අපි හඳුනා ගන්නවා මේ රිචුවල් ආර්ට් තුලින් අපි වර්තමානයේදී ඒවා භාවිත කරනවා. ඒවා රෝග වළක්වා ගැනීම උපදේශන ක්‍රම, ඒ වගේම මේ වෛරස් ඉන්ෆෙක්ෂන් මේ භාවිත කරන ඔබ දකින්නේ රූපරාමර දකින්නේ උදාහරණයක් ලෙස මේ කොළ වර්ග, ඒ වගේම විස බීජනාශකයන් සඳහා භාවිත කරන කහ, ඒ වගේම දුම්වල, ඒ වගේම සුවඳ දුම් මේ මල් වැනි දේවල් වර්තමානයේ මේ පැන්ඩමික් අවදී මේ කොරෝනා අවදී විශේෂයෙන් මේවා අපි නිවෙස් වල දකින්නවා භාවිත කරනවා මේ විස බීජනාශකයන්. මේවා අපිට මේ රිචුවල් ආර්ට්ස් වලින් ලැබෙන වටිනා සම්පත්, ඒවෙන් ලැබෙන දේවල්. ඒ වගේම විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ තවදුරටත් අපි කතා කරමු ප්‍රසංගික කලාවක් ලෙස. ඇත්තටම වර්තමානයේ වන විට මේ රිචුවල් ආර්ට්ස් ප්‍රසංගික කලාවක් වශයෙන් දිනදා සමාජයේ අත්‍යවශ්‍ය අංගයක් බවට පත් වෙලා තියෙනවා. අපි දකිනවා විවිධ උත්සව සඳහා දිනදා ආගමික උත්සව, ජාතික උත්සව, ඒ වගේම පෙරහැරවල් විවිධ උත්සව සඳහා මේම රිචුවල් ආර්ට්ස් භාවිත කරනවා. මම හිතනවා උදාහරණයක් ලෙස මට දක්වන්න පුළුවන්. අපි නැවතත් වෙන අපේ පාසල වෙත මේ ප්‍රසංගික කලාව පැත්තෙන්. දැන් මේ දරුවන් ඔබ රූපරාමු දකින්න අපේ දරුවන් මේ ඔවුන් මේ නර්තනය, ශාස්ත්‍රීය නර්තනය උඩරට කොහොඹාකාංකාරී නර්තනයන් හදාarලා ඒ චාරිත්‍රානුකූලව මේ හිසවෙස් මේ පාහින්පත් මංගල්‍ය, එහෙම නැත්නම් අපි කියනවා ග්‍රැජුවේෂන් සෙරමනි කියලා මේ යම්කිසි අවස්ථාවකදී සමාජයට ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න සූදානම් වන අවස්ථාවක් තමයි මේ ඔබ දකින්නේ කලෙලි මංගල්‍ය. ඔවුන් මේ විදිහට චාරිත්‍රානුකූලව ඉෂ්ට සිද්ධ කරමින්, ඒ වගේම අර අපේ කස්ටම් භාවිතා කරමින් ඔවුන් සම්ප්‍රදායික නර්තනය ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා. ඒ වගේම ওই නර්තනය නැවත ඔහු වේදිකාවට ගෙනියනවා. වේදිකාවෙදිත් මේ සම්ප්‍රදාය නර්තනය ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා. ඉතින් බලන්න ප්‍රසංගික වශයෙන් මේ නර්තනය අපේ දරුවන් ඉගෙන ගැනීමෙන් අපි අර ඉපැරණි ශාස්ත්‍රයන් ඒවා භාවිතයට ගැනීමෙන් ඒවා ආරක්ෂා වෙනවා. ඒ සමාජීය වශයෙන් අපිට ඉතාම වැදගත්. ඔව් මේ දකින්නේ. ඒ විතරක්ම නෙමෙයි. එහින් එහාට ගියාම ඔව් ඉගෙන ගන්නවා ඉතිහාසය. අපේ මුද්‍රා නාට්‍ය කලාව අපි මේගොල්ලන්ට පුහුණු කරනවා අපේ ආයතනයේ. එහිදී අපි ඔවුන්ට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා අපගේ සංස්කෘතිමය වශයෙන් අපේ ඉතිහාසයේ විකාශනය සිදු වූයේ කොහොමද කියලා අපි මුද්‍රා නාට්‍යයක් නිර්මාණය කරා. මේ අපිට අර මම පෙර කිව්වා වගේ අර හිස්ටරිකල් ඉවොලුෂන් ඉතිහාසය පිළිබඳ දැනුම ඔවුන්ට ඒ අනුව ලැබෙනවා. ඔවුන් මෙරට ජීවත් වෙන දරුවන් ලංකාව ගැන අපිට ඉතිහාසයක් තියෙනවා. අපිට ගෞරවයෙන් තමන් ගැන අභිමානයක් ඇති කරගන්න පුළුවන් මේ තුලින්. අපි තව දුරටත් කතා කරනවා නම් එදිනෙදා මේ ඔබ දකින්නේ ඊට අමතරව විශේෂයෙන් සඳහන් කළ යුතුයි අප ආයතන ශ්‍රී ලංකා ෆවුන්ඩේෂන් ආයතනයේ විසින් පවත්වනවා ශ්‍රී ලංකා Day Expo International අති දැවැන්ත ප්‍රසංගයක් මේ කැලිෆෝනියාවේ බොහෝ දහස් ගණනින් සම්බන්ධ වන ප්‍රසංගයක්. එහි අපිට වෙනම වේදිකාවක් වෙනම අවස්ථාවක් උදා වෙනවා ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයින්ට තමන්ගේ දක්ෂතාවයන් ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න. අප දරුවන් ප්‍රසංගිකව එම දක්ෂතාවයන් ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න හොඳ තෝතැන්නක් තමයි මේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා ඩේ. ඒ ඔවුන් පෙරහැර මම දකින ඔවුන් මේ බෙර වාදනය කරමින්, ඒ වගේම පර්කෂන් ගායනා නව නිර්මාණ ශාස්ත්‍රීය නිර්මාණ මොවුන් එදා වේදිකාවට ගෙනවා. ඒ වගේම අපි බලමු ඊළඟට අපි මේ පාසල් අධ්‍යාපනයක් වශයෙන් ඇත්තටම අපි දන්නවා මේ වෙනකොට ලංකාව තුළ පාසල් අධ්‍යාපනයක් වශයෙන් විෂය පාඨමාලාවක් වශයෙන් උසස් අධ්‍යාපනයේ විශ්වවිද්‍යාල මට්ටම දක්වා මේ අපේ මේ රිචුවල් ආර්ට්ස් එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ කලාවන් විධිමත්ව සකස් කොට ප්‍රයෝජනයට ගන්න. යම්කිසි පුජ්‍යලක අපන යම්කිසි අධ්‍යාපනයක ප්‍රතිඵලය විය යුත්තේ ඔහු තුළ චර්යාත්මක වෙනසක් ඇති කිරීමයි. එද පූර්ණ මිනිසෙකු කරා ගෙන යාම තමයි අපි අධ්‍යාපනයෙන් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. මම හිතනවා අචල මේ පිළිබඳව කෙටි පැහැදිලිමක් කරයි.
Translation. In Sri Lanka, dancing, singing and instrument techniques were started during the prehistoric age. These techniques developed from their rituals that first started in 6th BC. With time, they were developed further and divided mainly into 3 parts according to the regional inheritance, such as upcountry, low country, and Sabragamuwa. Existing societies at that time received precious benefits from their rituals and the social significance can be categorized under 7 factors. Out of those 7 factors, one example is how medicine is used to get protection from natural disasters and to protect the harvests. They perform the Shantikama and Yaga Homa by using a mixture of various herbs to cure mental and physical diseases. Another example is the cultural aspect. The students who graduate from our dance school are prepared to perform for larger crowds and events such as Sri Lanka Day Expo. Our students were even fortunate enough to perform on Disneyland's main stage.
Thank you. 1972 ලෝක පුරා සිටින සමාජ විද්‍යාඥයන් එක්ව යුනෙස්කෝ සම්මේලනයේදී සමබර අධ්‍යාපනයක් කොහොමද පවත්වාගෙන යන්නේ කියන ප්‍රමිතියක් සම්මත කරගන්නවා. ඇමරිකානු ජාතික බෙන්ජමින් එස් බ්ලූම් මහතා විසින් ඔවුන් ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා විශේෂ ක්‍රමවේදයක්. අපි අද භාවිතා කරන බ්ලූම්ස් ටෙක්නොමි අපි දන්නවා. ඔහුගේ විශ්ලේෂණ අනුව ඔහු අධ්‍යාපන ලබා දී යුත්තේ කොටස් 3කින් ඔහු පෙන්වා දෙනු ලබනවා. cognitive domain දැනුම knowledge එක අපි ලබා දෙන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා අපි විස්තරාත්මකව අපිට ඔබ දැනුවත් කරනවා. ඒ වගේම affective domain අපි ලබනා වූ දැනුමේ භාවිතය එහෙම නැත්නම් ආකල්පමය වශයෙන් ඔහු වර්ධනය වෙන්නේ නිසා කෙසේද කියලා එහිදී සඳහන් කරනවා. ඒ වගේම psychomotor domain ඒ කියන කුසලතාව දැක්වූ skills කොහොමද සමාජයටත් තමා ළඟාගත් දැනුම සමාජයට ප්‍රයෝජනවත් විදියට තමාට සමාජයට ප්‍රයෝජනවත් විදියට භාවිතා කරන්නේ. ප්‍රජානන ආවේදන මනෝචාලක වශයෙන් අපි මේවා හඳුන්වනවා. ඔබට දවදුරටත් මේ ගැන විශ්ලේෂණය කිරීමට අවස්ථාව අවශ්‍ය නම් ඔබට සොයා බලන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම මෙම ත්‍රිත්වයේ භාවිතාට ගනිමින් යම් විෂය මාලාවක් සකස් විය යුතුයි. මා ඒ බල පිළිබඳව විශ්වාස කරනවා. ඒ තුලින් මම සමබර පෞරුෂයක් වර්ධනයක් ඇති වෙන බව සමාජ විද්‍යාඥයන් විසින් තහවුරු කර තිබෙනවා මේ වන විට. ඒ අනුව ඉහත කරුණු සැලකිල්ලටගෙන සෞන්දර්ය විෂයේ අන්තර්ගතයන් අපි භාවිතා කළ යුත්තේ කොහේද කියලා මා වටහාගෙන සිටියා. ඒ අනුව අප පොතපතින් ලබන දැනුම, ඒ වගේම ගුරුවරයා සහ ශිෂ්‍යයා අතර සම්බන්ධව ඉදිරියේදී ලබනා දැනුම, ඒ වගේම දැකීමෙන් අපි ලබන දැනුම, ඒ වගේම ඇසීමෙන් ඔබ ලබන දැනුම, ඒ වගේම පරීක්ෂණ නිරීක්ෂණ මගින් දැනන ලැබ මෙම ක්‍රමයන් මේ ඉතා සාර්ථකව අපි අවබෝධ කරගත් නිසාම මේ පැන්ඩමික් අවධියට මේ කොරෝනා අවධියට පෙර අපි ඉතා සාර්ථකව මේ පාඨමාලාවන් සකස් කරගෙන ලබනවා. ඒ අනුව මේ පැන්ඩමික් අවධියත් මේ කොරෝනා මේ නිවෙස්වල අප දරුවන් සිටින අවධියේදී මේ විෂය පාඨමාලා අපිට සාර්ථකව ගෙනගෙන යාමට හැකුණා මේ පිළිබඳව අවබෝධයෙන් සිටපු නිසා. මම හිතනවා තවදුරටත් ගත්තාම මව් රටින් වෙන්ව බහුසංස්කෘතික සමාජයකට අපි ජීවත් වෙන්නේ. ඔබ හැමදෙනාම ජීවත් වන්නේ වෘත්තීය වශයෙන් අධ්‍යාපනික වශයෙන් අපි හරිම කාර්යබහුලයි. එසේනම් අපේ සෞන්දර්ය විෂය මම තේරුම් ගත්තා කොහොමද අපි මේක ගලපගන්නේ මෙරට පවතින අධ්‍යාපනික ක්‍රම රටාවට. ඒ පරාසය තුලට අපේ සෞන්දර්ය විෂය ගලපා ගත යුතුයි. ඒ අනුව අපේ මේ මෙරටට ගැලපෙන පාඨමාලාවක් කරිකියුලම් එකක් සකස් කරගෙන ලැබුවා. ඒ කරිකියුලම් එකේ පාඨමාලාව අපි තාම සාර්ථකව පසුගිය වසර කිහිපය තුල පවත්වාගෙන යන්න ලැබුවා. ඒ වන විට ඇමරිකාවේ අධ්‍යාපනික ප්‍රමිතිගත ආයතනයක් වන ACSWASC ආයතනය විසින් ක්‍රමවත් පාඨමාලාවක් එහෙම නැත්නම් විධිමත් පාඨමාලාවක් බවට එය පිළිගත්තා. එපමණ ඒ අනුව ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම අප පාසල මේ වන විට පුස්තකාල පාසුකම් සහිතව ඒ වගේම තාක්ෂණීය භාවිතාව සඳහා පරිගණක අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා වෙනම අංශයක්, ඒ වගේම විශාල නර්තනයන් පුහුණු වීම සඳහා ඒ ස්ථාන, ඒ වගේම උඩරට පහතරට සබරගමුවේ නර්තන විෂයන් හැදෑරීම සඳහා අවශ්‍ය කරන ඒ උපකරණ භාණ්ඩ, සවුන්ඩ්ස්, ලයිට්ස්, තාක්ෂණී ඉහළම හැම දෙයක්ම අපිට ලැබුණා. ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම ඩොක්ටර් වෝල්ටර් ජයසිංහ මහත්මයාගේ දූරදර්ශී සංකල්පය තමයි මේ ක්‍රියාත්මක වුණේ. ඒ වගේම අපි අපේ පාසල මේ වෙනකොට එම කටයුතු සාර්ථකව කරගෙන යනවා. දැන් මේ කරුණු මේ අපි කොහොමද භාවිතා කරන්නේ මේ විද්‍යාත්මකව මේ තියෙන තාක්ෂණය භාවිතා කරමින් මේ පැන්ඩමික් අවදීදී අපි භාවිතා කරේ කොහොමද කියලා මම වැඩිදුරට ප්‍රකාශ කරන්න නැහැ මොකද අපගේ දක්ෂ ආචාර්ය මණ්ඩලය ඉදිරියේදී ඔබ ඒ සියල්ලම දැනුවත් කරાવી අපි කොහොමද තාක්ෂණي භාවිතා කරේ ඒ වගේම අපි මේ නර්තන ක්‍රම childhood ඒ වගේම අපේ ක්ලාස් වල තියෙන levels අපි කොහොමද භාවිතා කරේ කියලා ඉදිරියේදී අපි දක්ෂ ආචාර්ය මණ්ඩලය ඔබ දැනුවත් කරાવી.
In 1972, social scientists discovered the learning method to give a balanced and standard educational system, which was called the Bloom's taxonomy. This method has become world-renowned and it's used globally. There are 3 simple concepts that make up this method. Those concepts are cognitive domain, affective domain, psychomotor domain. These 3 concepts should always be implemented to any curriculum. It has been scientifically proven to develop balanced personalities. Now, to put the Bloom's taxonomy method into practice, we added these concepts into a brand new curriculum when we started our school, and it has become a massive success. The results are measurable and scientifically proven. Before the pandemic, we conducted classes together in our studio, and it helped to maintain their mental and physical health. But since the pandemic started, we haven't been able to physically meet our students. Since we couldn't see them every day, we adapted our classes to be conducted online and continue to support our students in every way we can. Our instructors will further explain how we conducted these online Zoom and Google classrooms.
Thank you. බොහොමත්ම ස්තුතියි. ඒ වගේම අපි බලමු මේ සමාජීය වැදගත්කම වශයෙන් ගත්තාම ඇත්තටම මේ වන විට අප මේ පවතින කොරෝනා මේ අවධිය එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ පැන්ඩමික් සීසන් එකේ අපේ දරුවන් නිවෙස් වල සිටින්නේ. අපේ ආයතන වල සිටින්නේ අපි කොහොමද මේ අපේ විෂය පාඨමාලාව වුන් විට ලබා දෙන්නේ කියලා මම හිතනවා අපේ ආචාර්ය මණ්ඩලය ඉදිරියේදී ඔබ දැනුවත් කරනවා. එබැවින් මම එහි සමාජීය වැදගත්කම එහි වටිනාකම ගැන කතා කරනවා නම් මේ දරුවන් තම නිවෙස් වල ඉන්න ගමන් අප හා සම්බන්ධ වෙනවා. එතකොට අප නිතරම මේ පාඨමාලාව තුළින් ඔවුන් වෙත નિરાයසයිම සතුට එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔහුගේ තෘප්තිය අපි ඔවුන්ට ලබා දෙනවා. මේ වගේ අවස්ථාවක අපි දන්නවා ඒ දරුවන් ඉන්නේ නිවෙස් වලම සිටිනවා වෙනදා එළියේ දුව ඇවිදපු ළමයි අද මානසිකව එය ආතතියකටපත් වෙනවා. මම දකිනවා හුඟක් දුරට ඔවුන් මේ අප ක්ලාස් රූම් එකට ආවහම කොයිතරම් සතුටින් අපිත් එක්ක ගත කරනවද කියලා. ඒ ආතතිය දුරු වීමෙන් નિરાශයෙන්ම ඔවුන්ට සතුට ලබා වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම දෙමාපියන් සමග එක්ක වැඩ කිරීමට මෙම කාලය ඔවුන්ට උදා වෙනවා. මේ ක්ලාස් එක ඇතුලින් අපි ඒ දේවල් සලස්වනවා දෙමාපියන් සමග එක්ක කටයුතු කරන්න. උදාහරණයක් ලෙස ඔවුන්ගේ වීඩියෝ ගත කිරීමට එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔවුන්ගේ පසුබිම් සකස් කිරීමට ඒ වගේම ඔවුන් එක්ක එකතුව තමයි මේ අපිත් එක්ක අධ්‍යාපන හදාරන්නේ. ඒ අපි ලබා දෙන දැනුම තුලින් ඔවුන් උගත් ඒ තුන ඔවුන් නිර්මාණ ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා. ඔහුගේ නව නිර්මාණයන් ඔවුන් ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා. ඔවුන් අලුතෙන් ඇඳුම් නිර්මාණය කරනවා. ඔවුන් විවිධ උපකරණ භාවිතගෙන මේ පර්කෂන් වාදනය කරමින් අපි සමග සම්බන්ධ වෙනවා. මේ ප්‍රතිඵල ඒවයි ඔහු තුල නිර්මාණශීලී හැකියාව වර්ධනය වෙමින් ඔහු ආඩම්බර ඔහු තුල ඔහුගේ ජීවිතේ ඔහු සතුටටපත් වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම බුද්ධිය වර්ධනය වෙනවා. ඉතින් කණ්ඩායමක් වශයෙන් ඔවුන් ක්ලාස් එක ඇතුළතදී අපි එකතු වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම ගායකට ගායනා කරනවා, එකට නර්තනය කරනවා. ඒ තුලින් ඔවුන් තුල සබකෝලය දුරු වෙනවා. සබකෝලය දුරු වෙනවා වගේම ඔවුන් අවසානයේදී අපි ඔවුන් ඔහුගේ නිර්මාණ තනි වශයෙන් අපි ලබා ගන්නවා. ඒවා සියලු දෙනාම ඉදිරියේ අපි ප්‍රදර්ශනය කරනවා. එකිනෙකා අතර හැකියාවන් බෙදා හදා ගැනීමෙන් ඒ වගේ ඔවුන්ගේ චරිත ගෞරවාන්විත තාත්වයට ගෞරවාන්විතව එකිනෙකා අතර සහයෝගයෙන් වැඩ කිරීමේ හැකියාව ඔවුන් තුළ උදා වෙනවා. ඇත්තට මේ සමාජීය වැදගත්කම කියනවා නම් අපේ සංස්කෘතිය ඒ සජ ක්‍රමවේද ඔවුන් තුළ නිරන්තරයෙන් මේ අධ්‍යාපන ක්‍රමය තුළ අපගේ හැසිරවීම තුළ ඔවුන්ට ලැබෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒ අනුව මම තවදුරටත් කතා කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ කාලේ හරස් වෙන බැයි මගේ අවස්ථාව ඊළඟට සියලුම පාසලේ කටයුතු කොහොමද තාක්ෂණය භාවිතා කරමින් සිද්ධ කරන්න කියලා අපේ දස ආචාර්ය මණ්ඩලය විසින් ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා. ඒ වගේම සියලු දෙනාටම බොහොමත් ස්තුතියි. අප හා සම්බන්ධ වුණු සියලු දෙනාටම බොහොමත් ස්තුතියි. Thank you. ආයුබෝවන්.
Thank you, Lal. So he explains how, like, since the pandemic started, how we haven't been able to physically meet our students. So since we couldn't see them every day, we adapted our classes to be conducted online and continue to support our students in every day we can. And furthermore, he explained that the other two qualified teachers will explain you more on how we ran these online Zoom classes and how we maintain our accreditation status. Thank you very much, Lal, for that very informative presentation you did. Next presentation is from our Vice Principal, Associate Director, and the instructor, Sewandi Rajapaksa. Over to you, Sewandi.
Ayubowan, hello everyone. I would like to express my gratitude towards Dr. and Mrs. Jayasinghe for all their efforts in making today's event a possibility. I would also like to thank the Sri Lanka Foundation, the president, staff, my fellow instructors, our illustrious guest speakers, parents, students, and all those gathered here today. I would also like to convey my heartfelt gratitude to my dance teachers, Mrs. Rajini Selvanayaga, Ms. Damayanti Selvanayaga, Mr. Channa Vijayawardena, and Mrs. Uppuli Vijayawardena Panibharata. I have a background in Bharatanatyam and Kandyan dance, and I am a technology enthusiast. I will be presenting on using technology to teach dance during the pandemic. During this worldwide pandemic, online courses have proven to be essential. One of the biggest concerns in online education emanates from the excessively high attrition rates in fully online programs compared to the traditional classes. In other words, students lose interest and excitement in classes over time. Statistically, online courses have a higher failed retention rate compared to traditional classroom environments, and a large percentage of online students drop out of online classes. A review of the existing literature indicates that online courses have several technological and motivational issues arise from both student and the faculty's perspective. As shown in the graph here, since the start of our online program, the attendance for our pre-K dance class has remained steadily at 100%, while the intermediate dance class attendance has varied. However, the membership rate for both our dance classes and drum classes has remained at 100% with no dropout at all. In fact, there have been some new additions to our overall student body. Since the start of the online class platform, we have been vigilant and kept a watchful eye on student membership and attendance and changed our online teaching strategies accordingly. Our success in maintaining the student body in our online classes during this time can be attributed mainly to integrating novel technologies in teaching using the Zoom platform, while employing unique and interesting teaching techniques. Here are few of the students from pre-K class, age under 6 years, and the children from child dance class, age 6 to 12 years of age. Here are a few students from the 13 years and over age dance class, and this was taken on February of this year, just before the pandemic. At the start of the online program, all the basic dance techniques were standardized after careful research and preparation. This measure allowed all the instructors to be cohesive in teaching these traditional techniques in their respective classes. Furthermore, standardizing the basics provided the students an official reference material that enabled them to learn and recollect techniques swiftly. Allow me to present two examples of the many standardized documents that we have. Shown here is the document for the basic leg techniques, an essential set of basic techniques for Kandyan dance. For instance, a child who starts dance at the age of 5 years would spend the first 3 years perfecting these techniques. As you can see, we have provided the appropriate name and drum beat for each step, utilizing both the Sinhala and English languages in a clear, organized manner. This standardizing process continued further to hand and leg coordinated techniques, all while maintaining a similar format. Presented here is a snapshot of the first half of the Kastiram lesson material. Additionally, few advanced techniques have been similarly standardized. This is an ongoing process where new materials is created and amended as we move forward. Presented here is the traditional dance item named Mangala. As you can see, we have adapted a precise format, emphasizing the details such as the drum beat, the beat graphs, in order to enable a clear understanding of the lesson. We adapted cultural, religious, and significant festival-themed lesson plans for each month in an effort to keep these online Zoom classes more exciting and engaging to both the students and the teachers. Due to the ongoing pandemic, students were not able to participate in the annual cultural activities usually held in the community. Therefore, using these themed online presentation at the beginning of a lesson paved way for students to learn more about Sri Lankan customs and understand the role of dance and drumming in our culture. This was accomplished in a solidified manner that is ultimately more appealing and engaging. Presented here are a few slides from the Sinhala and Tamil New Year theme lesson plan. Using interactive multimedia for folk dances and folk music, as well as pictures to show, pictures showing festival customs, the teachers were able to emphasize to the students the cultural significance of this New Year celebration. Sri Lankan culture is quite diverse, so inclusion and diverse were two significant aspects that we were able to outline through these insightful presentations. In this lesson, the Sinhala and Tamil ethnic New Year customs were presented, and the students identified some of the customs that were similar to both. Presented here are snapshots of some slides from Vesak lesson plan, a major religious event observed by the Buddhist community. Along with describing the importance of this event to the culture and society, we focused on cultivating skills in building cultural artifacts such as Vesak lanterns and artistic greeting cards. Once again, in order to emphasize diversity and inclusion, students were given the choice of making a Vesak greeting card, a Christmas card, or any other of their choosing. Here's another example of the presentation to students over 13 years of age in the intermediate dance class. The students were tasked with identifying the various types of dance costumes in Kandyan dance culture and identify each element of the costume with the appropriate picture. In August, we recognized the annually held Sri Lanka Day event in Los Angeles, hosted by the Sri Lanka Foundation. We initiated our dance practices for the month, acknowledging the mission and vision of the foundation, and accrediting the founder, Dr. Walter Jayasinghe, as well as the staff and key figures within the Sri Lanka Foundation. The opportunity for performances is one of the main attractions for the parents and students to follow this art. Sadly, due to the prevailing pandemic, all such performances as of March 2020 were cancelled. Creating and implementing virtual performances and posting these performances on social media built excitement and motivation among the students and their families. Additionally, these virtual performances help to improve their creative skills by making their own dance costumes and performance material. Here is the first virtual performance released on social media using all the dance and drumming virtual class footage. This performance was released to celebrate International Dance Day. This is just a few seconds of the full video without the background music. If you are interested, please check out the Sri Lanka Foundation YouTube channel for the full video. online assessments were also presented in a more exciting way by digitizing the platform and creating a novel experience for the students. This allowed students the ability to complete this task during the Zoom class session and thereby understand where the class stands in terms of a specific technique. Here is an example of the practical dance assessment used during the online Zoom class sessions. Students were assessed on both their ability to showcase the learned dance techniques and their ability to create a performance based on a choreography of their own making. Students' techniques and performances were assessed using the previously accredited methods and parameters such as rhythm, technique, body movement, facial expression, as well as their overall contribution to design, prop use, and overall ambience creations. Furthermore, following the previously established standards for accreditation, the students' knowledge of theory on a given lesson as well as their competency for learned dance techniques were assessed. Here you can see once again, while maintaining the previously established standards for accreditation, each technique was assessed considering the students' ability to identify the rhythm, technique, body movement, facial expression, and their ability to recite the drum beat. This is an example of the theory quiz used for students aged over 13 in the intermediate dance class. Each student was directed to the theory assessment website during the Zoom class session, and all the students were able to complete the task at the same time. This is a page 2 of the theory assessment, where students were tested on the knowledge using multiple choice and written answer questions. We understood the importance of the analysis of these assessments for the individual students. While providing an individual assessment score and a teacher's remark on a particular student's performance, we were also able to integrate a real-time analysis tool in our online platform as seen here. By using these analysis tools for assessments, the students were able to see as a class where they stand for each technique and what they needed to work on further. This analysis helped the students to suggest their own solution to help the class overcome varied insufficiencies in skills. Using the analysis from the assessments, we identified that students needed instructional videos for each of the techniques being taught. This allowed them to be better prepared before attending classes and practice on their own. Therefore, we integrated Google Classroom pages consisting of technique multimedia for both the drum and dance classes. This platform enabled a communication between the teacher and the student, provided a secure place for uploading instructional videos, and established a place where students can submit their assignments virtually. Shown here is an example of the first Google Classroom that we created. We assumed a simple, user-friendly design after a 2-week beta test. The front page shows the communication stream, which consists of a message board and a class information such as the Zoom link, the class time over here. So this classroom can only be accessed by the allowed class participants such as the students and the instructors. The class materials are organized very neatly so as to make it easier for students to navigate and find what they are looking for. Both Sinhala and English languages have been integrated to facilitate language learning. The teachers our teachers embrace the idea that anything that is presented to the students should be complete and well put together. All the instructional videos are made by the instructors at the academy, and these videos are crafted with a title and logo to maintain a standard of excellence and to deliver well put together classroom materials for the students. The world has dramatically changed since March 2020. To optimize student engagement and prolong participation in a fully online educational and instructional program, new, exciting, and engaging strategies needed to be implemented. Our success can be attributed to the integration of innovative technology and interesting teaching techniques. The Sri Lanka Foundation Academy of Performing Arts Group strongly believes in the success of the online program that we initiated. By utilizing innovative technologies such as technological strategies, such as standardization of techniques, theme-based presentations, digitizing the assessments, providing a secure digital platform such as Google Classroom, and virtual performances, we were able to create a vibrant and engaged community of teachers, students, and parents that truly embrace dancing online. Here is a sneak preview for an upcoming virtual performance to be released soon, commemorating Sri Lanka Day 2020. Sri Lanka Day is a prominent community event that takes place annually in Los Angeles, California, but was canceled due to the pandemic. However, students took part in practices for dance and drum acts utilizing the virtual platform with direction from their instructors over the past 2 months. These videos will be released on to the Sri Lanka Foundation social media pages in the upcoming weeks. Shown here are a few seconds of the full video without the background music. Currently, our dance and drum classes are conducted completely online. Those of you who would like to join can use the enrollment link or by visiting the Sri Lanka Foundation website, both of which will be shared on the chat box pretty soon by Chamod. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation.
Thank you, Sewandi. Very well presented. Thanks again. Let's move on to our next presenter. Our next presenter is the Associate Director, Dance Instructor of Sri Lanka Foundation Academy of Performing Arts, UMENDRA KAHADAWAARACCHI. UMENDRA.
Teaching means creating students where structures can be discovered by Jean Piaget. Ayubowan and greetings to everyone. Today, my topic is about how dance and music help child development. I will be discussing preschooler development, 4 cognitive stages, child identity and confidence, and how Sri Lanka Foundation Academy of Performing Arts help children to be more confident, and how we build a platform for them to perform and receive recognition from others. Next slide is preschooler development. This has 3 parts: physical development, language development, and behavioral development. Physical developments can be divided into 2 groups: gross motor development and fine motor development. What is gross motor development? At this age, children become more skilled at running, jumping, throwing, and kicking. They can also catch a bounce ball. Most importantly, they can hop on 1 foot and balance on 1 foot. So what does this mean to us? That means this is the perfect time for them to learn dancing, because they can balance and they can hop. Our foundation, APA, we enroll students age 4 and above, because they can be engaged with our activities at that age. Moving on to fine motor development. At this age, they can draw, they can use scissors, and they can put on clothes properly with adult supervision. Even though we do not do much arts and crafts in our dancing classes, we give them homework. We give them assignments where they can draw pictures, create things like lanterns, like you saw in Sewandi's presentation. During Vesak months, they built their own Vesak lanterns, and they drew pictures of greeting cards. They built their own greeting cards. So that's example of using their fine motor development. Let's talk about language development. Language plays a huge role in a culture. In our classes, students are learning about Sri Lankan culture. Without understanding a culture, without understanding the language, you cannot understand a culture properly. Almost all of our students are born and raised in California, and English is their primary language. We tried our best to teach them our language while teaching drums and dancing. And I think we are doing a great job and we are successful. Let me show you, Shamod, can you play this little video clip? How they can...
Yes, sir. Okay, Rebecca, Anumi goes in Sinhala. How do we call that in Sinhala? Which is what in English? Slow, okay. How do you call medium in Sinhala? Madhya. Look at my mouth. Look at my mouth. Madhya. Yeah. Just like medium, when you say medium, you go right? Sound. So madhya. Madhya. Very good. How do you say fast? Fast rhythm in Sinhala? Very good. Give it back to me.
All right. So I was teaching them the 3 speeds in Sinhala and English. So she was explaining, these are technical terms in dance technical terms, very hard to pronounce. Vilamba, Madhya, Druta. So they were able to repeat back to me. I give credit for parents for doing this, actually, more than us. Kids, their language, parents help them to build, because they're speaking Sinhala at home. So thank you, parents, for helping them to learn our language. Also, at this age, they can follow commands, they can count, and they can enjoy rhymes and rhythms. It is very important for them to know their numbers and they know how to count, because in our drums and dance class, we use numbers. Like when we make rhythms, we go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's our fast beat. And the medium, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And the slow beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And also we combine those numbers to make new beats, like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So kids should be able to understand their numbers and should be able to incorporate into understand the concept. So I think it's very important they learn their language, and because without understanding their numbers or language, they cannot learn our dance and drumming. Moving on to behavioral development. The preschooler learn their social skills by working together with other children. They know that they need to play and work in a group and by interacting with each other. So for example, if they, when they're in preschool, they have play groups. They know that they have to share their toys, they have to play with others, they're fighting and they're laughing and they're crying and making friends again. So that's how they build their social skills, by interacting. Next point is, it is normal for preschoolers to test their physical, behavioral, and emotional limits. Having a safe, structured environment that they can explore and face new challenges is very important. The child should display initiative, curiosity, and desire to explore, and enjoyment without feeling guilty or inhibited. This is the age that we start teaching them jumps, turns, and lifts. So as teachers, we do not push them to do anything if they don't want to do it. We always make sure safety is our #1 priority. Moral development begins at this age. Early morality develops as children want to please their parents and teachers. This is commonly known as the good boy or good girl stage. Because they want to please their teachers and parents, it's very easy for teachers to work with them. For example, if we give them a homework, preschoolers are always they return our homework on time. And we talk about in the class, we show their work, sharing the screen, and they love to hear it. And they enjoy seeing their work, and that gives the encouragement to other students to do the same. They also understand rules and regulation at this age. Our school has rules and regulations, and they are listed in the admission packet under the code of conduct. What you see here in the screen is our class dress policies and concert policies. So during admission time, our administrative personnel read each of these bullet points to the students and make sure they understood our policy and have them initial at the bottom. Let's move on to 4 cognitive stages for child development. I will talk about what are children capable of learning at various stages in their development. How do children develop their intellectual skills to react and interact with their environment? And how do these cognitive abilities develop and in what order? I'm going to skip the sensory motor stage because birth to 2 years, as we all know, they learn the world from their senses. Let's talk about pre-operational stage, age 2 to 7. During this stage, children develop memory and imagination. They're also able to understand things symbolically. I hope Chamod can play the video. Yeah, this is a harvesting dance. So in our syllabus, we have to teach them a folk dance. One of the folk dance that they learn is harvesting or goyam netun. So these kids, like I said earlier, they have not seen a real paddy field. So how we can teach them to perform like this, like a real farmers? So what we do, we show them a video clip or a picture or something from the internet, what is a real paddy field look like with real farmers, or we can ask them to draw a picture or a sickle, and then finally we choreograph our dance and we ask them to use their imagination and pretend. Look at these beautiful girls pretending how to perform like a farmers. All right, next is concrete operational stage, age 7 to 11. During this stage, children become more aware of external events as well as feeling other than their own. They become less egocentric. I can give you an example of children becoming less egocentric at this age. They are not selfish. So during Zoom class, sometimes not all the students understand what we are teaching them. Especially when it comes to dancing, we are doing it on a computer screen. So young kids have trouble understanding that what they see is an opposite view. What that means is if the teacher turns to the right side, they see the teacher turn to the left side. So it's really hard for us to teach them the sides, left and right. So what the other kids who understood, what they can do, they text message through the text lines saying how it should be done. Of course, kids understand their friends, their language, so they learn it fast, and then everybody give them virtual high fives, emojis, and everybody is happy at the end. We move forward as a class. Next age is the formal operational stage, age 11 and older. During this age, children are able to use logic to solve problems. Also, they can view the world around them and they have planned for the future. How do they use logic to solve problems? For example, like Sewan said, when we started our Google Classroom, we did not have to teach them how to use the Google Classroom. I had to learn because I finished my school 10 years ago. So I am not updated with technology. I had to get a teaching lesson from Chamod how to use this Zoom class and Google class. So, but these kids, they know already how to use their Google Classroom from their school. But this is dancing class. I think we are the first one to use dancing into Google Classroom. So when we do something like a practical subject into a computer lessons, they did not need any lessons from teachers or parents. They use their logic, their knowledge, and they were able to use the Google Classroom. And sadly, this is the age that we lose our students because most of them are in their high school. They are busy with their school, like doing SATs, finding colleges, moving out of the states. So we try to do our graduation right before their high school graduation, and we let them move on with their life, but they always come back. They come back to perform in our events like Sri Lankan Day. They never say no to Sri Lankan Day. All right, let's move on to child identity. Dancing allows children to build their own identity. Child identity is not only a psychological structure, but also a complex subject of modern humanitarian science. In this world of changes, children are faced with many questions and struggles as they sort out their multiple identities. Children begin to ask identity questions at an early age. Who am I? Who is my family? Where do I belong? Why does my family celebrate some holidays and not others? These are all standard questions children ask to determine how they fit into their world. In our dance and drum class, we help them to identify their roots and where they come from. We have students where both parents are Sri Lankan, and we also have students from one parent Sri Lankan and other is not. So in our dance syllabus, we included our culture and traditional events where kids can learn who, what, and why we celebrate such events. Some parents celebrate these events at home, such as Sinhala Hindu New Year, and they go to temples for Vesak season to see lanterns and how we celebrate Vesak in Sri Lanka. But not every parent can do this at home. They are busy with their life. So by learning these events in our dancing class, help students to understand their parents' roots. On the other hand, if you are a non-Sri Lankan students, they can learn a total new culture. I would like to move on to confidence. What is confidence? Confidence means with trust or with faith. How can we help children to build their trust? From play to chores, we encourage activities and help kids to gain their skills. Self-confidence originates from a sense of competence. Children develop confidence not because family and friends praise them, but because of their own accomplishments. Here are things that we do to help kids feel good about them. When we teach kids, Shamut, can you show the video? Yeah, there you go. When we teach kids, we show them first. This video clip, we have a student from a preschool. Her name is Rebecca. So I gave them an assignment. What my assignment was, I teach them a foot exercise number 2 into 3 speeds. And my assignment was, I asked them to reteach. Teach me back what you learned. So that way I can understand you understood what I taught you. So these students send me the video clip. I hope you can hear the voice. If not, let's try to play at least without the voice.
Sorry,
she did an amazing job.
There's a technical issue, so I cannot play the video right now. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, and how else we can build them confidence? We praise the student. How do we praise them? We talk about their good work during the class. We thank them for joining the class on that day. We also thank them for doing their homework on time. And also we talked about their homework, like I mentioned earlier. They love to hear their work, love to see their work, and that encourage others to do the same. We ban harsh criticism. We do not criticize kids in our class. We focus strength rather than weakness. And most importantly, this is my favorite thing. I always ask kids to help. I encourage kids to help teachers. If I need help, I always ask them, can you show me how to do this? So I think this gives them a sense of leadership and also help to build more confidence in them. I'm a nurse, so I always ask help. All right, let's move on to how Sri Lanka Foundation, APA, teaches our students to be more confident. We start with gratitude, namaskara. We begin classes with worshiping Buddha, gods, parents, and teachers. And we ask permission from the audience to dance in front of them. This is showing gratitude. And then we move on to exercise. We do deep breathing exercise before we start each session. We do make sure the kids understand why we have to do the exercise. They understand that it helps them to fill their lungs with fresh air, lungs and brains actually, and also it helps them to keep them aware and awake and gives them a energy and helps them to understand that they are in control of their body, not anybody else. Do we have an exercise video? There you go. This is, we are doing our breathing exercise, or like moving our heads, joints. Ask them to deep through their nose. Since this is a preschool class, I ask them to do, pretend like you smell your rose and blow your candles. That's easy for them to understand than saying, okay, deep breathe and exhale. So I tell, okay, smell your rose, meaning take a deep breath and blow your candle, exhale. I think that's enough of the video, me explaining how to breathe. And next point is we encourage them to take a daily step out of their comfort zone. What is their comfort zone? They join the Zoom class in their bedroom or in their living room in their uniform, dancing uniform. So once in a while, we ask them to go out. We give them an assignment. Okay, we give them a song, ask them, you do your own choreograph, do your own costume, do your own hair and makeup, but get a grown-up adult, mother or father or sister or brother, and go outside, find a beautiful place. Could be your backyard, could be a park, and have them videotape, send it back to us. This is a beautiful, Ayumi did her own choreography. All right, let's move on to getting ready to bounce back. I call this as trial and error. It is not failure that destroys our confidence. What destroys our confidence is not getting back up. Once we get back up, we learn what did not work and we can give it another try. I can use myself an example. Like I told you, I'm not good at computers. So when I teach my Zoom class, I always have trouble sharing videos, sharing screen, and with the volume and all that. We have wonderful high-tech students in our classes, even though they're young kids, but they are very knowledgeable on the computers. So they tell me, Ms. Umendra, this is not how you do it. Use the other screen, use the other checkbox. So I learned from them, and we all move forward with our lessons on that day. So thank you for my kids for helping me. Finally, we ask them to find a mentor. Whatever you have set out to do, there are likely others who have done it first. And they can offer you useful advice. They can serve you as a role model. We encourage students to find those people and learn from them. Most of the time, it is their sister or their mother who are next to them and helping them. Thank you, sisters and parents. This is Ayumi and her sister. Isn't that beautiful? All right, my last slide, but not least, my favorite slide, how Sri Lanka Foundation APA helps to build a platform, perform and receive recognition from others. These slides include our few of our past events that we did. Sri Lanka Day. Every year in month of August, Sri Lanka Foundation hosts an event where every Sri Lankan and non-Sri Lankan can join and enjoy a day out. In this event, we showcase Sri Lankan culture, including authentic food, clothes, dancing, drumming, and beautiful parade with live-looking elephants. Unfortunately, we were not able to do it this year due to COVID. This is the summit, 17th Model United Nations Summit. Over 750 middle schoolers from around the United States gathered at the Sheraton Gateway LAX on April 28, 2018. This was a 4-day event, and our Performing Arts Center was invited by the YMCA to perform and have a workshop on Sri Lankan dance and culture. As you can see in these pictures, we had an amazing audience. All these high school or middle school students enjoyed our drum lessons. Pasadena Art Night. Our students performed at Pasadena Art Night on October 12, 2018 at the USC Pacific Asia Museum. This event happens twice each year, and the event is sponsored by the City of Pasadena Art and Cultural Commission. The pictures that you see is, right now you're seeing is the event from Pasadena Art Night. These are our graduate students and Laosa. This is Egg Bowl. Sri Lankan Foundation Academy of Performing Arts took over Rose Bowl on April 20th, 2018 to kick off the Egg Bowl. Our student performed a fusion dance item at the venue. Egg Bowl is a free spring event filled with fun family activities such as face painting, live entertainment, pictures with the bunny, and 80,000 eggs inside the Rose Bowl Stadium. I highly encourage you to join this event if you have not seen it before. This is the first Sri Lankan art exhibition called The Jewel Isle, held on December 16, 2018 at the Los Angeles County of Art Museum, known as LACMA. It is the first complete study of Sri Lankan art organized by an American museum. About 250 guests attended the event, and our students performed at the formal opening ceremony. We showcase our beautiful island's unique traditional drumming and dancing at the 12th annual SASA conference on March 24th at the Claremont McLean College in Claremont, California. SASA stands for South Asia Studies Association. The annual event is held to focus on South Asia's rich and diverse past, its bold and remarkable present, and its soaring prospect future. This is my favorite event that happens last year. For the first time in Sri Lankan-American history, more than 50 students from the Sri Lankan-American community performed at Disneyland on November 16, 2019. We were really busy last year at this time getting ready for this event. It was a wonderful event. This particular 30 minutes performance included traditional Sri Lankan folk music, dance items, and live drum act. Disneyland performance was a product of Dr. Walter Jayasinghe's vision of performing Sri Lankan culture in the United States and globally. And that concludes my presentation. I thank you for Dr. J and Ayesha Jayasinghe and Dishan Jayasinghe for this opportunity. And thank you for Sri Lanka Foundation for the opportunity. And I also grateful for my guru, late Mr. P.S.R. Shilpadipati and Kanti Shilpadipati for giving me this wonderful gift of knowledge of dancing. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Umendra. That was very enlightening. Thank you. Just a notification that anyone who is interested in joining our classes, now the student registration link is open. It's in the chat line. For anyone who is interested, you can go in and join. And let's move on to our next presenter. It is the Assistant Drum Instructor of Sri Lanka Foundation Academy of Performing Arts, Dian Hevage. Over to you, Dian.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Greetings to everyone. I hope everyone is safe and healthy. Thanks for joining our cultural webinar today. I am Dian Hevage, the Assistant Drum Instructor of the Sri Lanka Foundation. I know you all have been listening to speeches for a long time, so I'm going to make it fairly quick. Today, I'm going to talk about the techniques we use to teach traditional drums and folk music during pandemic. As you know, Sri Lanka has a rich history and a culture which has been evolutionized for thousands of years. We are one of the oldest civilizations in the world. Throughout history, we have mastered so many industries such as agriculture, clothing, irrigation, performing arts, etc. Our traditional dance styles and folk music play major roles in our cultural heritage. For example, our traditional dancing and folk music are interconnected with our agriculture. Also, our dance styles developed through different stages of agriculture. Our ancestors have been preserving our culture, especially our traditional dance and folk music. And now it is our responsibility to give it to the future generations. Therefore, being able to share that culture with our young generation is a privilege for the Sri Lanka Foundation. I want to thank Dr. Walter Jayasinghe for his vision and starting this foundation. We have been teaching kids for our culture for many years now. Also, we want to keep doing this for many years to come. Let's talk about drums in Sri Lanka. When we talk about Sri Lankan traditional dance, there are three main types. Each dance style uses their own unique drums and music. For example, upcountry dance style, also known as Kandyan dance style, uses the gatabere. Low country dance style uses the yakbere. Then the Sabragamu dance style uses the daula. Other than that, there are more drums such as tammatama, udakkiya, bankurabana, which we use in folk music. They also can be used along with those other drums I mentioned above as fusion performances. Fortunately, Sri Lanka Foundation has an amazing facility which has all of these drums for students to learn and master their skills in drumming. Also, the Sri Lanka Foundation Academy of Performing Arts has great courses and programs to teach children how to play those drums and how to master those drums. Moreover, we teach them the drum languages such as Bera, Saramba, Sural, etc. By using special curriculums specifically designed for our young children. It is an honor for me to share my knowledge with the kids through these amazing courses we provide at the Academy of Performing Arts, because it is very important for students to learn dance, language, and music of Sri Lankan traditional dancing. So let's talk about the importance of learning drumming and folk music for traditional dancers. Basically, Sri Lankan traditional dance is a combination of dancing, singing, and playing. That being said, a dancer should be able to dance, sing the particular folk songs, and should know how to play the drums according to the music. In other words, traditional dancers will be performed with music, which is drums, and songs, also known as kavi. Therefore, it is very important for a dancer to know all of these three main things in Sri Lankan traditional dancing and master these skills in all three ways. It has so many benefits on and off the stage. For example, knowing the drum beats and how to play them will help a dancer to understand the length and the timing of that specific dance style, and will become a perfect performance with the combination of the folk songs, which is a great way to showcase someone's ability to entertain people and to perform on the stage with confidence. Because by knowing all the lyrics and the drum beats of that particular dance, it is almost impossible to forget or make a mistake on stage. The dance will perfectly understand the entire performance better and also will be able to improvise for a better entertainment experience. So let's talk about a perfect example we have at the Academy of Performing Arts, our very own Mr. Lal Tilakaratne. The reason behind his success is knowing those three main things in traditional dance. Lal sir is a great dancer, drummer, and he knows his folk music very well. That helped him to become the person who he is today. I believe that Lal sir is one of the best examples we have got as a genuine entertainer and a proud Sri Lankan traditional dancer. That being said, we want our students to become like him or even go further. That is our main goal at Sri Lanka Foundation, Academy of Performing Arts. So let's talk about the regular drum classes before pandemic. This is how we did it. In our facility, students are able to learn, practice Sri Lankan traditional drumming and folk music. Let's go to the next slide, Chamod. As you can see in this video, students are so happy to learn their culture with friends and family. Also, it is a very pleasant experience for us, for the students, to give our knowledge to the kids. They were able to learn so much at the Academy of Performing Arts facility. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic situation, students are no longer able to use this amazing facility which Dr. J has built for us. However, we did not stop from there. Our talented staff came up with some great solutions to teach drums and music to the students during the pandemic. So during these tough times, we are unable to provide the cultural education in our facility, surrounded with a bunch of drums and other traditional instruments. Therefore, we had to think smarter and come up with some solutions. Even though they're not 100% effective, the actual hands-on experience, we tried our best to provide the knowledge that our students need using modern day technology such as Zoom, Google Classroom, etc. For example, we watched tons of videos of professional drummers from Sri Lanka playing their drums, traditional dancers doing their dances, and singers singing their songs. Also, as instructors recorded ourselves singing, playing, and dancing, and then send those videos to the students via email, Google Classroom, and YouTube links. By watching those videos, students have learned different ways of singing, dancing, and playing. Also, they were able to improve their skills by watching videos of other professionals from Sri Lanka. Throughout the whole process, we were guiding the students and clearing their doubts to give them a smooth learning experience. And we have a small video here. This is a video of our intermediate drum class. As you can see in the video, students have various kinds of equipment. Even though some students have actual Sri Lankan drums, most of them did not have the actual drums with them at home. Also, it was hard for them to import drums from Sri Lanka during this tough time. However, they looked so excited to see their fellow classmates in Zoom, and they were having a really good time while learning the culture. One of the few obstacles we had was not having actual drums, obviously, to learn at home. Because of all the drums, however, we did not give up our students. We asked them to use whatever equipment they could find from home. So some students some students had the actual drums. But interestingly, we were amazed to see the interest towards learning traditional drumming. Some students came up with boxes, some students came up with, like practice pads and spoons, forks, and everything. So we were so happy, and it also motivated us to go move forward during this tough time. Now let's talk about the overall student learning outcome. As I mentioned earlier, learning drums helped our students in so many ways. For example, they were able to understand those Vannam and Janakavi better by learning the drum portion of it. Also, they understood the timing and the length of each dance. They learned how to adapt to special situations and how to react to them. For example, they were unable to practice drumming with actual drums. However, they were able to use substitutions and learn the importance of working with what you have. Moreover, they also developed teamwork skills while working with other students online. They were helping each other who had troubles during online classes and helped them to move forward. Most importantly, they learned our culture, our history, our traditions and customs. They were taught how to respect one another and importance of knowing their heritage. It helped them to improve their personality to become a better artist. So I think there's a small video at the end that concludes my whole presentation. So I hope you guys got an idea how we teach traditional drums and folk music during the pandemic. I want to thank once again to the Sri Lanka Foundation, Academy of Performing Arts, for giving me this opportunity as a young artist. It is a pleasure working with all of you guys and being able to share our culture and knowledge with the young children. So I hope you all be safe and healthy. Thank you so much and have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you, Dian, for that very informative presentation. Now we have come to the Q&A section, but before we proceed with the Q&A, just a reminder again, for anyone who is interested in joining our classes, please follow the link given in the chat. There's a question from Ananda Makalande from our Los Angeles community. The question is, in addition to 3 traditional forms of dances, are there any endemic dance forms from North Sri Lanka? I'm not sure who is going to take this question, Sewandi or Principal?
Yes. Achala. So yeah, it's a good question. He said the endemic, so something native. So the three dance forms which Lars spoke of, Kandyan dancing, Pahadarata dancing, and the Sabarakamu, those are the main classical dance forms that is indigenous to Sri Lanka. Apart from that, there is a dance form called Bharatanatyam, which is originating from southern India, which is indigenous to southern India. So, and I have also learned Bharatanatyam from a small age. Yes, Bharatanatyam is also another dance form, and also that is coming from Jaffna, that is mainly very popular in Jaffna, and also in Colombo. There are a lot of generations of Bharatanatyam teachers who teach Bharatanatyam in Sri Lanka, and you would see the generation from Sri Lanka is quite distinctly different from the Southern Indian Bharatanatyam style. It's the basics are the same, but we have we have created our own Sri Lankan Bharatanatyam style as well. Yes, we have something originating from Jaffna, and it's also very common in Colombo as well, which is Bharatanatyam. Yeah, but it's not indigenous to Sri Lanka. It's actually indigenous to India, southern India.
Thank you. ඇත්තටම මේ ආනන්ද මාකලන්ද මහත්මයා අපි බොහොම දන්න කෙනෙක්. බොහොම ශ්‍රී ලංකාව පිළිබඳව ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ඉතිහාසය නර්තනය පිළිබඳව බොහොම දැනුමක් තේරුමක් ඇති කෙනෙක්. බොහොමත් වැදගත් ප්‍රශ්නයක් එතුමා ඇහුවේ. ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ මේ භාරතනාට්‍යම එහෙම නැත්නම් දමිළ ජන නැටුම් සහ නර්තන විධි තියෙනවා. වර්තමානයේදීත් ඔබ ලංකාව තුළ මේ කොළඹ හැමතැනම ලංකාව හැමතැනම ව්‍යාප්තයි මේවා. නමුත් විශේෂයෙන්ම අප නර්තන පාසලේ අපි මේක පාඨමාලාවට ඇතුළත් කරලා තිබුණේ නැහැ. නමුත් ඔබතුමාගේ සංකල්ප ඉතාම වටිනවා. මම හිතනවා අපිට ඒ සඳහා සුදුසු ගුරු මණ්ඩලෙකුත් ඉන්නවා. අපිට ඉදිරියේදී ඒ සඳහා අවශ්‍යතාවයක් තියෙනවා නම් අපිට ඒ වගේ සිසුන් ඉන්නවා නම් භරතනාට්‍යම හැදෑරීමට අපිට ඒ සඳහා පාඨමාලාවක් ඉදිරියේදී පටන් ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක පිළිබඳව අපිට සාකච්ඡා කළා මිස් අචල සමග ඒ වගේම අපේ අනිකුත් සියලු දෙනා සමග සාකච්ඡා කරලා පටන් ගන්න පුළුවන්. එතුමාට බොහොමත් ස්තුතියි අපි සමග සම්බන්ධ වුණාට. ඒ වගේම එතුමා බොහොම දැනුම තේරුම ඇති කෙනෙක් හැටියට අපි එතුමාට තාමත් ගෞරව කරනවා. බොහොමත් ස්තුතියි.
Thank you, Lal. And I think it was, Sewan, it's your area, you're qualified in that Bharatanatyam, like Arangetram, that area too. That was a very good question from Anand Makalanda's side. And thank you, Lal, for covering that and bringing up that section. Yes, we are open. If we have many registrations for that Indian dancing, that the Bharatanatyam side, of course, that's something that we would consider in our to include that one in our curriculum and expand. And that's what we do. Thank you. Thank you for that answer, our teachers. Let's move on to the next question. In Q&A, I think this might be for Elizabeth. The question is the supplementary process for VAS accreditation the same as for a school?
Yes, thank you. That is a great, that's a great question. And it comes up often. The accreditation process for a supplemental program, just like your academy, is the same process. The school applies or the program applies, and then we vet the program. Then the program and or school has to write a report, and then we do a visit. And we talk to the same people, teachers, leadership, students, parents, and it's the exact same process. It is not watered down. We want to ensure that a supplemental program follows all of our guiding principles at WASC and follows all of our criteria. So it is the same process. The report is a little different, but it's the exact same process. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you. Chamo, do you see any other questions? I don't see anything else in the Q&A. Did you check the chat line? Anything
Yeah,
else?
somebody is asking the accreditation number, so I will give Elizabeth detail for her right now. So that's it.
There
And
was a slide shared, right?
yeah, and I will send that to that person directly. And I have one question for, I think that's for Achala, like what are the other ways that you praise and motivate students become successful? Like, are you showing like any newsletters, something like that? I think.
Yes, good question. Yes, Chamud, we do have the APA monthly newsletter that we produce every month. And in our newsletter, mainly the first page is usually like that gives the updates from the school, like any events that we participate, any upcoming events or anything that happen at school, anything as such. It is a featured article that we do at the front. And then we also dedicate a page for a student of the month. Our Academy of Performing Arts every month, our teachers and the principal, they select a student. Now, selecting the student of the month, it's not only based on what they learn and in the classroom. They also consider, they take into so many different aspects into consideration when they select, that is such as the attendance, the punctuality, obeying the rules, such as like whether they come in dance outfit and the no phone policy inside the classroom. Also like student participation at events and submitting assignments on time. Topics and points being considered when they select the student of the month. And that last page, let me see if I can find a newsletter that we publish every month where I can share. Chamud, can I share the screen? See, this is one newsletter that we published. Can everyone see this?
Yes.
Well, that's the first page, and this is every month we publish this one, we print it and we circulate. This is the student of the month area, the page that we dedicate. So we get a write-up from the student and we post a picture of the student and a family picture. See, children get to do write up about the student. Sometimes they write it in Sinhala, like the English language. So they get to learn our language too, like whatever they know, like they put into this write up. So this is like we another way of teaching the language too. So that's something what we do with our newsletter, monthly newsletter, Chamod.
Okay, thank you so much. And we have another question from Kenneth Walpeter. So the question is, are you considering to expand the subject areas to include other art forms such as music, painting, and fine arts in future?
Yes, definitely. Good question. Yes, currently we are working on expanding our curriculum to the music, actually. That's, I think our principal Lal will talk more about it. We are expanding onto that area, the music, and then the language. It's another thing that we are going to expand into, include it in our curriculum. And arts and drama, yes, that's in future, going to be lined up.
Thank you, Achala. And we have one more question from Sumana Dianarachi. Is from Australia. So the question is, can Australian students join with your study program? Thank you.
Of course. Now that we are open for virtual platform, so anyone from anywhere in the world can join our classes. We are open. The registration line is open right now. They can register and we can schedule classes.
That's it, the question session from my end. So if anybody has any questions, this is the time to ask.
Right, we are running over the time too. So then since that's all in the question Q&A session, I think, Chamod, before we conclude, I think I would like to invite Mrs. Aisha Jayasinghe, the Vice President of Sri Lanka Foundation, to convey the thank you note.
Hi everyone. I thoroughly enjoyed this presentation. It was so well done, and you did notice all the different aspects of dance and drumming, and of course learning and improving and making the children really enjoy it. Also making not only learning, but learning all the other different needs of children that is so necessary for a complete picture. It's not only the dance, but how they feel and how they respond and what they like to do and help each other and help the teacher. All those aspects of this performance on this webinar shown is really what we wanted to see. It is not just learning some steps in dance or just learning to drum. That is not a complete picture. And what y'all are doing, the teachers, they are bringing it out to many more things. And the children then enjoy it. The children can learn much more. They are so capable, even the little ones. And you seem to understand that and recognize that and implement all kinds of little things that really make these webinars. No wonder it's interesting. And also that's why we don't have all the children leaving, because they feel fulfilled. Yeah, I like to go and tell the teacher this, or I did this. So, it just that interaction with the teacher and of course, the professional nature of the learning the language and seeing each other on TV, sort of, which is interesting, and able to communicate with each other in that way, because that's what they miss. A lot of children miss that communication within each other because they can't ever see them other than on this one platform. And if you all are making it, facilitating them talking to each other, seeing each other, and looking towards working together and working together. So I think that was a very, very well presented webinar. And I want to very much thank the teachers. They have done an excellent job and with their children and all that. And also I want to thank all our special guests that came on to the show and gave them an introduction, from our ambassador to the gentleman who is so skilled in performing arts. We are delighted that you are here and able to see what we are doing. And if we can do something better, I know we can depend on you to give us more encouragement or inspiration. And of course, I want to thank Elizabeth, and she was there at the beginning. She was very, very, thank you so much for being so cooperative and giving us this opportunity to be accredited, and also, coming there, watching it, seeing it, and being today on the show. So you can see what we are doing and what our intentions are and how we are excited about what we are doing. And that's what makes dance and drumming interesting and exciting, because everyone is involved and children are enjoying. That's a real classroom. That is a real classroom. So I want to thank you very much, Barbara, because Elizabeth, that it is like that. And of course, all our teachers, Lal, Sravandi, Umendra, and everybody else, they really helped. And also Diane, your presentations were absolutely excellent. I really enjoyed seeing that. I'm so thrilled that you are doing so much more than what normally happens in a school, because they are going from subject to subject to subject to subject. But you're making the subject so integrated and exciting, and that's what we need. And you are really accomplishing our desires and the children's desires, and the parents must be very thrilled. Also, they learn too, because they are watching the same program. So I think it is all in all plus program, and thank you all for being here and doing all this for us. And last, especially thank Momi Stuti Wakarapu presentation ekadai karana apita karana sevaya හැමතැනම මේ ළමයිට උගන්වන විදිය උගාක් හොඳින් උගන්වනවා. අපි බොහොම ස්තුති කරනවා ඒකට. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Aisha, Vice President of Sri Lanka Foundation. Thanks again. This concludes our webinar. Everyone, stay tuned to be notified about our upcoming events. Thank you again to all the presenters, special guests, our qualified staff, and all our attendees today. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend and stay safe.